Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to special news update. Pour les celui qui sont en français, je vais revenir à 9 heures. Je pense que c'est quoi ça, 12, 19 heures. Peux-tu? OK, pas 19 heures, 21 heures. OK, fait que je vais revenir à 21 heures en français. So I'm going to continue in English, and a lot of things have been happening with the C.P.U, the PowerShift of Freedom. And what I want to do is to elaborate a little bit on that tonight as to what's going to be coming down the road. And for everybody to look forward to the events that we're going to be hosting and to give us as much support as you can, because now we need to make a huge splash across the country, and not just here, but in the UK as well. I spent the weekend watching a conference that a beautiful lady by the name of Jennifer Hibbard and Tessa from the UK. Actually, Jennifer is from here in Toronto, but she is the co-founder of the Better Way for a Better World. And what they did is they made a Better Way conference this weekend, and in the UK. And I'm telling you, 4 a.m. came very fast, and it was extremely interesting. They had 3 days, the Friday, Saturday, and the Sunday, and it was just beautiful what they did, what they put up. Del Bigtree was there as the host, which made it very interesting. Dr. Malone, Dr. Cole, and a lot of the other doctors were all there. And the discussions were really great. Their whole thing was based on asking the hard questions and having, and communication. So they also had lawyers, the legal side and everything, lawyers from all over. They had lawyers from Africa. And I mean, there's one, Connell, oh my God, this guy is extremely something else. Anyways, they did great presentations, all of them. Kudos to them. And I couldn't be more proud that I was actually watching this, and that, Jennifer knew. And we were hoping to be able to have her this evening, but she came back. She was going to be my surprise guest, so she can tell you all about it. And Jennifer supports the PowerShift. So while she was there, she spoke with lawyers, and the whole weekend she talked about the PowerShift and how, yes, we need to do this the legal way. Anyways, we're having more developments in the UK right now. It's not the news that some people thought they'd have. It hasn't still gone to the Parliament yet. Our lawyer is only going to be ready to work on its beginning the 1st of June. Well, yeah, 1st of June. Here it's going to be a holiday. Here the government kind of goes away for the summer holidays, but in the UK they don't. They only take like a week off, and then they're back in there. So we're going to be at that Parliament. How can I say? Our lawyers are going to be making sure that Parliament is forced into dealing with our issue, which is the correction on the Canadian Constitution, placing the Canadian citizens and the Indigenous nations as equal shareholders, co-owners of the Crown of Canada, and the Crown Corporation and all of its assets. So here's how we stop the Great Reset. Because through international law and a lot of the research that we've done, the UK cannot argue our point. And this is why I sent a 13-page letter requesting a correction to the Canada Act 1982, which still sits in the UK legislature, because the Canadian government since 1982 did not finalize the stipulations that were required of them, okay, which was also to involve the Canadian citizens and the Indigenous nations. And all they did was only go to a certain level, so they didn't finalize anything. Therefore, our Constitution still sits in the legislature of the United Kingdom. and it will sit there until things are corrected. So because that wasn't done, now it gives us a chance. 1 second. Excuse me. I've been speaking so much that my throat is totally dry, and I'll just grab a drink of coffee here. I just came out of another meeting that was supposed to be 20 minutes talking, and I talked about an hour and a half. So anyways, I had lots to say, and hopefully these people will realize that, the PowerShift is the only way to go. And I had to explain, the difference between the PowerShift and the C.P.U. So in regards to the UK, we really need to make a splash now, okay? And in Canada as well, from coast to coast to coast. So if you want your freedom, if you believe that this country should be the responsibility of the Canadian citizens for us to decide ourselves, because in reality, who is the best to decide for you, your family, and this country? You or a politician? Right now, we're going through provincial elections. I don't even bother with those, because our rights are at the federal level. The federal level can supersede all the provinces. The provinces have zero power in regards to if the federal government wants to, it can override the provinces. And it's not like in the United States. In the United States, the different states, the 50 states, can make decisions overriding the federal government. So here it's totally different. It's the reverse. The federal government can supersede anything at the provincial level. And that's a stark reality that people need to face. And anybody trying to wanting to use what we're doing to make themselves free in their provinces, it's not going to happen. A Canadian citizen is responsible for all of Canada. Canada belongs to the people, not just piecemeal way, okay, to both the Indigenous and Canadian citizens. We cannot do this without the other. Otherwise, we would both fail. So with the plan that we've set forth in the PowerShift is actually the action that the Canadian citizens need to take in order to be able to be recognized completely in our Constitution as the final decision makers and co-owners of the Crown of Canada. So if you believe in this and you want to be able to have a future, and you don't want to give in to the reset where we lose all of our rights, neither the Indigenous nations or the Canadian citizens will have any rights other than on our strict territories, and that will be run by band councils and our mayors, our city mayors. So our city mayors will end up having just as much power as the premiers. Okay, this is what's coming. And then digital ID is fastly coming in. In Quebec, the Caisse Populaire is already given the okay to, if you want to do any online shopping or whatever, you'll need a digital ID to do online shopping or online banking, okay, through your bank cards and stuff like that. So I don't know the ins and outs there, but it's happening really fast. They're bringing in their social credit system because obviously, the banking system is our lifelines, and that's what they're using. So we need to act fast. We can hopefully we'll be able to get a resolution, from the UK in regards to our request, and that is in the hands solely of the Minister of Foreign Affairs in the UK, Elizabeth Truss. Now she has to bring in a motion to Parliament for them to have a vote and agreeing to changing our constitution, placing us, we the people, and the Indigenous nations together as equal shareholders, co-owners of the Crown of Canada. And once that is done, then the Indigenous nations as well will have the benefit of a direct democracy because as a shareholder, co-owner of the Crown, the band councils will have to go to the people before final decision-making authority is given by the people. So by fixing ourselves and making sure that we can end corruption, at least most of it anyway, a little at a time. We're not overthrowing our government. Our government will have to work for the people and will not be able to make any decisions in regards to our natural resources or any contracts, international contracts, or international treaties, unless we, the people, agree through referendum. Okay. So there's a lot of things that can be done that way. It'll depend, it'll be the people who will decide in the end. Guaranteed that once we get our rights, you know, the courts or, you know, will ask that there's a certain limit of time that has to be given in order to organize and everything else. So we're well prepared. We know what our governments are required to do, including Canada and the UK, in regards to our rights, through international law, that to be able to do this. So do we really need 51%? We were asking signatures at 51% for the Convention of Consent, so that Canadians can actually have the right to self-determination and self-governance, as long as we have at least 51% of signatures of Canadians. And that would be, that is the first step that I had undertaken, because I hadn't found that solution by sending the correction to the UK in regards to our constitution. However, we still need to get 51% of those signatures, or as much as possible, so that we can move forward either way. It's one solution. That solution is placing the Canadian people and the Indigenous nations as equal shareholders, co-owners of the Crown of Canada, and in decision-making here in Canada. The people will have to educate themselves as to the laws and, you know, what entails for the Indigenous peoples, their rights, and finally their rights would be recognized and respected the proper way, the way it should have been, under a two-row constitution type of constitution. And if you see the Convention of Consent over there, the IAQs, that is the Indigenous and Civil Unified Sovereign Enactment that the Canadian citizens have to sign, stating that, yes, we will honor the Indigenous treaties. And once everybody signs that, then at least we know what Canadians want, because we have to stipulate legally what it is that Canadian citizens want. We don't need to ask the government permission, nor the Supreme Court of Canada. What we need to do is prove that, yes, we have the interest of the people. They want to become the official shareholders, co-owners of the Crown of Canada, instead of moving forward to a new world order, a one world government established in Dubai in 2017 by corporations. So in 1931, you've heard me talk about 1931, 1960, 1982. In 1931, we were given our independence, but Canada, the government, want to hold on to the Queen to make people pretend, you know, think that, yeah, we were still stuck in a sense, but that the Queen was now the Queen of Canada and she had the final say, or, you know, through the Governor General, and all that was hogwash, because what they did is we went from an empire to corporate imperialism. So they replaced the empire, the UK, the imperial empire, with corporate imperialism. And this is how our governments were able to, you know, make sure that the Indigenous nations didn't get their rights, that they had to fight for their rights, and that Canadian citizens didn't know what was going on, you know, and we just went along with everything that they said. So now is the time to end this and to move on to a new history for Canada. And I think what's coming ahead, you will be pleased. So we're going to be trying to come online at least once a day in French and English, so that we can get everybody on board. There are some days that might not be able to, but we're going to try our best so that we can start doing fundraising. And a while ago, you might have seen a little premiere that today is the official launch of our fundraising campaign so that we can have many lawyers. We're going to need many lawyers in the UK. And we have our main one is going to be beginning, and we're not divulging names, and we're not divulging many strategies or how many numbers of signatures we have, because listen, people, you do not give your enemy the right, how can I say, information so that they can prepare to come back at you because they've got the information. Okay. We need to keep the government, we need to catch the government's lawyers with their pants down. And I think we will be able to do that in many ways. We can argue for 3 months on our rights. Our rights are our rights. And at the international level, anything that the Canada and the UK signed on to is embedded directly, and especially under UK law, English law. What Canada and the UK signed on to in 1976 are political and civil rights, and the right to decolonization in that. They are a party to it, and they had a responsibility to it. So we're going to hold them to that. Okay. So it should have been done legally from the international since 1960, but it was never done. And 1982 should have been. And again, our rights were stolen. Okay. So now we can get those back, but we need you. We can't do it alone. It won't happen alone. We need you to help us financially, physically, and to get the word out. And now the good news is that we are organizing for the end of July, July 30th and 31st, and August 1st in Ottawa at Parliament. I've already applied. Today I called them to get a confirmation, and they said I should have confirmation on Monday, but everything looks good. Nobody else has asked for it. And anyways, what we're planning on doing is inviting all of the nations and Canadian citizens to stand together for our right to power shift to freedom, for our right to choose for ourselves and our families and this country what is best for all of us together. So dare to dream. And what the conference that I attended this weekend that Jennifer and what was her name? I just forgot her name. I had it a while ago. Well, anyways, the one that Jennifer put together in the UK was amazing. And this woman is just extraordinary. And you will get to meet her. She could not come tonight, but she said that she's open any other night, sometime this week or even next Thursday at 8 p.m. So we're going to be starting interviewing a lot of very interesting people, doctors and whatnot, because the thing is we need to focus on our collective rights to self-determination, and then this can stop everything else. Focusing it on mandates and whatnot, we can't, it's going to be hard to fight public health. They're claiming the reasons under public health and that they have to protect all Canadians. Well, now we better focus on the fact that all Canadians are richer and more powerful than they know. And it's time that you wake up to that fact. It's time that you can see the potential of what we can do here in Canada, what we can do with our Bank of Canada, and where the people will have control for the first time in the history of democracy, okay, on this planet, that the people, yes, can rule a lot better than what they have in that the Swiss have, and any other country. So, Canada was the one that got us into trouble. Canada was the country that was used for a one world government. Canada was the country to implement all of these atrocities. Now, Canadians, it's up to us to clean up this mess. We can clean it up fairly quick if you rise quickly, if you make your voices heard, If you put up your banners, PowerShift to freedom everywhere, your vehicles, your houses, your windows, on flags. We've ordered flags for marches and stuff like that, and we're going to be having them on display at the end of July at Parliament. But at Parliament, it's going to be a 3-day event in celebration of unity between Canadian citizens and the Indigenous nations. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to recruit enough dancers, traditional dancers, and well, one of my cousins is one. So Jill, if you can hear this, she's my little cousin. We haven't seen each other in ages. We'd love to have you come and demonstrate what you can do. She is one of the dancers that was at the Olympics the last time they were in Canada. So anyways, we're very proud of her. She's gorgeous. And her outfit was just amazing. So here on Six Nations, we have powwows all the time. The dancers are just unbelievable. And it would be nice to be able to see that all the nations across Canada could reserve a little place, like, because we're asking for Parliament Hill, we want to be able to set up areas where we can have, some of the dancers and the traditional people to, come up and speak, to honor with us here on Six Nations. It is the Churo Wampum, and in honor of the Great Law. And the Great Law will explain that, how that is, and how, this will breathe air back into the Great Law, because it should have went from across the planet. Same with the Indigenous nations from Africa. Their teachings were all the same. So, we need to combine, we need to understand what happened in Canada. We'll give you a good taste of that. We'll have speakers in regards to that, a little bit of history taking, and more of a celebration. It's going to be a rally to rally the people to become the final decision makers in Canada, finally, and to protect, so that we can protect our children and their futures, as well as other countries can do the same as us. So we need to become an example. If anything, like thank God for the truckers and the convoy that happened, because it showed the world that Canadians can do this, that yes, Canadians are not happy with their governments, but it's time for the people to rise and to be placed in the rightful position. Okay, so big to do in 2 months from now. You got time to prepare. Parliament Hill. And if something happens on Monday even down the road, because what happened to Jennifer in the UK is that the hotel where they were set up to do the whole presentations, the whole conference, booted them out once they found out what they were doing, what they were going to be speaking of. So they found another venue really quick, and everything went super well. So everything worked out great. It's, everything happens for a reason. So should we not be able to get Parliament Hill, we've got other places that we'll let you know where everything will be. But please, it's time for the Indigenous nations to have their chance to rise, as well as with Canadians together in unity, and learning to be able, because one thing you wouldn't want to miss is how discussions are made. And I was blown away when I saw how, they would sit around the well, and 2 groups would discuss, and everybody knew word for word what the other one had said. I cannot master that for the life of me. I've tried, but yet they've got 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds who can do it. So imagine teaching that to all of our kids, and teaching our kids democracy, because that's where that comes from. Democracy was in the Great Law. It is the people that make the decisions. They tell the clan mother, then the clan mother goes to the chief, and the chief has to do the implementation. The chief is actually the poorest one. Whatever the chief owns, all of the people own. Okay, and then that's things that you're going to hear about in the Great Law, which are pretty pretty amazing. And, you know, it's not about going back to the ways from before, but it's about learning from them and seeing how we can all learn together, embrace all cultures, all belief systems, and come together as one, you know, to save our country and to also prosper together within our country. It is doable. So now I'm going to finish off with that. I want to thank Richard and Genevieve for doing our new videos. And those are our two little our geniuses. And, you know, thank goodness we've got them. And then we've got a lot of people behind the scenes that you don't know about. I haven't even met, but I get to speak to them once in a while. So it'll be nice to get together and meet in Ottawa. And in our full rights, so you don't need to be afraid. There's no fear under our political and civil rights. The parliament, we cannot be stopped from rallying and getting together and discussing things. It's not a protest. It's more going to be a celebration of coming into our rights, because we will not stop until we have our rights. And the letter in the UK should be the fastest thing to go through. However, our, you know, or whichever, if 51% of Canadians can wake up tomorrow morning and all sign, that would be terrific. And get that done as well. We have 2 chances instead of 1, and both combined, they will not be able to argue it, because we can argue our rights for at least 3 months in proof and in precedence. So if anybody has doubts, please don't hesitate to come and speak with us. And we can't speak to every single one person, but we will make an event to explain again what we've explained to lawyers, because a lot of lawyers go, oh my God, are you sure? And yeah, once we're done with our proof, they have no other alternative but to say, yeah, you're right. The law is the law. And as long as we stand by the law and behave in the law, there's no fear, okay? And eventually the truth will win over corruption, and those who are committing corruption will be exposed. And if they don't do what the people want, they will have no choice but to suffer consequences, because, you know, everybody has the right to make mistakes. They can come back and rectify their mistakes. And once they do that, then, you know, it's another issue. So we need to start being encouraged, embrace the weather, whether, you know, whether it's modified weather, which they've finally admitted that all of these storms are modified weather. We've got a clip of that on the weather, from the Weather Channel, where they talked about, you know, that we were going to have a big storm and it was modified weather. So who is creating havoc in our country but our own governments, allowing these things to happen? It's time to go to the root cause, remove the root and replace it with new ones, the true ones that belong. And the roots that are actually grown in North America are the roots of the Indigenous nations. So by embracing all of this and renewing everything, celebrating at Parliament Hill who are the true owners of this country, I think we'll get this done, and other countries can follow suit, because they too are protected by the same laws. So good night. I leave you with this. Go to the PowerShift.ca. You can donate on our website. You don't need to be afraid of what you put on there. It's all directly done to us. It's not by third parties. Even if you use PayPal, that's again confidentiality agreements with them. They cannot override. The government can't interfere in this. This is for our political and civil rights. We are acting in law, legally, and bringing forth our political action. And there's nothing that they can do about it. Okay, so no fear. Power shift to freedom. Let's go, Canadians. We're waiting for you. And the Indigenous nations, welcome home. Okay. And the PowerShift.ca. Bye-bye.